Sometimes you just have to make a movie about stuff. Anywho, I was talking to my friend this morning, and I described the situation I had. So I have a jewel that was broken that I wanted to replace with a Seitz, S-E-I-T-Z, Seitz, I guess, jewel. And those are friction fit jewels. So this is an old Elgin pocket watch, and these are not friction fit jewels. These jewels are burnished in jewels. They have a slightly different taper, and they do have a different depth than a typical friction fit jewel. So I do not have the right jewel for this, but can I fix that situation? So what I did was I've got a whole whack of jewels I bought, and they're Seitz jewels, and you can correct me if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but I am half Swiss, so I get to make Swiss mistakes. So the Seitz jewel was a 3200, and a 3200 is 0.3 millimeter hole in the jewel, and a 200, the 200 is a 2 millimeter diameter on the jewel. So I have it sitting in the hole here, but it's not burnished in yet. So because it's still not, the width of that jewel is still not thin enough, basically, to be low enough to be able to burnish this in. So so what I'm going to do is show you. I'm going to try to show you the difference between the two jewels. So I'm going to push this one out. So there's the jewel there. I'm going to make sure I'm centered here, because I'm not sure exactly where center is. So somewhere in there. And I'm going to zoom in. So I've already done some work on this jewel, so it's a lot thinner than it was. And I'm going to show you what I did to make this jewel a bit thinner. This is the same type jewel, and this jewel is a whole lot thicker. So I'm going to just see if I can prop these up by sticking them in some Rodico and show you the thickness of these jewels. This is dirty Rodico, so I'm just going to stand them up in Rodico. Then I'm going to zoom in. So this one I have here has been shaved down a little bit, and I'll show you what I did to shave that down. So let me just see if I can zoom in on this. So this is a finger that got squished in a door, by the way, just in case you were wondering, back when I was in university. Still hate my roommate for that. So, but didn't prevent me from playing guitar, so it's all good. So let me just, I've got to zoom in here, and I've got to zoom in, and then I've got to focus. So just hang on. Okay, there's the two jewels beside each other. I'm zoomed right in there, like really zoomed in. So this is what the jewel looked like when I started, and you can see how thick that jewel is there. And this is the thickness of the jewel after I've shaved some off. So now the question, I'm not sure what that little brown thing is there. It's probably a bug. so I'm not sure. I'll show you how I shave the material off this jewel. So there are the two jewels again. So this is the original one, the Seitz jewel, and another one fell out of the little container here. So that's the two of them there. So I set those aside. So now I'll show you what I do to shave material off. And I know I had to take a little bit more off of this jewel, so I'll just lay this down here. See, my mat's a little bit dirty here, so I apologize. So what I did was I took a 2000 grit diamond plate. I use this diamond plate for sharpening my carbide gravers for the lathe. So let me just zoom out a bit here. So this is what it looks like, diamond grit. I bought this on AliExpress from China, and this is pretty good. This works really well. So the first thing I did was put the jewel on my finger, and then I tried doing this, and I thought, no, this isn't working so well because I'm wearing my finger out. So what I did was, I'll show you here, I take the jewel, and I got to make sure the jewel is on, like the flat side of the jewel is down, so you have to look at it very carefully, and then flip the flat side down like that, like so. And then let me zoom in a bit here, and then you take a toothpick like this, and the toothpick shouldn't go through the jewel hole, so make sure it's not too sharp on the end. And you stick the toothpick on top of the jewel, and that's the rounded part where the oil would go into the jewel, and then you just simply go back and forth on the diamond plate like so, and you take your time, and it actually removes material from the jewel, from the base, the flat part of the jewel. And because you're rubbing it on a flat surface and you're applying kind of even pressure on the top with the toothpick, it'll take the material off completely flat. And because it's 2000 grit diamond plated kind of sandpaper, but 2000 grit diamond, the surface is going to be pretty smooth, so you don't have to worry about the pivot or pinions or whatever getting touching that. And in this case, it's the third wheel, I believe, so the pinion's not going to touch it anyway. So you just keep doing that, and then you measure the result by putting it into the plate that you're working on, and you can again use some Rodico there, and just in this case here, it's the wrong direction. So what I've done before with this is I've just picked it up with my finger, like so. Those are my guitar fingernails again, by the way. So I have it on the end of my finger like that. Then I turn the plate where the hole is the other way, and just place the jewel into the hole. This is just for fitting, okay, because you don't want your finger marks and stuff on this. And just do that, and then turn it around, flip it around, and then you'll see the jewels fit in there. And then you can just look at that jewel. I'll make sure that's pushed in a bit, and just look at that jewel sideways to make sure that it is indeed going down into that jewel hole, and that you have the right the depth. So you keep shaving material off until you have the right depth. And in this case, I got to take a little bit more off, just to get that, be able to burnish it in, so to get the rim there above the jewel, so I can burnish the jewel in place. So that's how you do it. So that's a quick video on how to remove material from a jewel. Thank you very much. So my wife said, great video, but how do I know the watch actually worked? So this is the jewel right here in place, and it's working perfectly. So this is the watch movement. I got great amplitude on it. I had to put a little bit of oil on the feet of the escapement, basically the pallet fork jewels. So anyway, and it just started going like crazy. So it's working exceptionally well. This is the jewel that I replaced, as you saw earlier. So it works pretty well. Thanks a lot.